Okay, so I'm going to start with the summary of the book Life Changer. It's going to be a chapter by chapter summary. So I'm starting with chapter one. So just follow me. So a family of six awaits the arrival of Mr. Esquire, that's the father of the house. While they wait, Bint gives an account of a classroom encounter with her intrusive social studies teacher, Malam Saliu, who is known to act as though he knew a bit more about every subject, as he will often ask questions outside the subject of discussion. Bint narrates how she genuinely handled a similar occurrence, leaving the teacher dumbfounded by the cheering and laughter of other pupils. Umi is seamlessly proud of her daughter, particularly Bint's intelligent approach to issues, and she joins in the discussion right before Omar joyfully announces his admission to study law at the Ahmadu Bello University. As the family gathers to celebrate Omar's success, Omar boasts of his achievement and takes pride in solely overcoming examination challenges and several other entry procedures while seeking for admission. Umi recognizes her son's naivety and tries to enlighten him about the life-changing capability of university admission. Umi tells her children how her admission changed her. So that's basically what chapter one is about. We can see here that the family of six, that means the family that is being talked about here, there are six in number, include the father and the mother. And then in this chapter one, we can see that the children were having a discussion. Bint was there telling them about some things that happened in our class while at school, about the Malam Saliu, the social study teacher that proves like he knows everything. He puts like he knows almost all subjects, and then Bint had to put him, to his place. Bint is a lady here, and then moving on to Umi, who is their mom, and then Omar. So we have been introduced to Bint, to Umi, to Omar. Omar is the son that gained admission to Ahmadu Bello University. So that's basically chapter one. Okay, so we'll be moving to chapter two. We'll be moving to chapter two. All right. So 20 years ago, now this chapter two now shows Umi telling her children how her admission changed her. She's trying to tell the student about her story, I mean her children about her story, because she noticed how Oma is so naive, and then she feels she should teach her through her own life, story. So in chapter two, 20 years ago, Umi gains admission into the university and gets married to her husband even before she starts her registration. Umi tells them about the freedom and the carefree life of students in the university, the difficulty in distinguishing between teachers and students, with females dressing almost naked, and how some faculties are required to be on dress codes. Umi further discloses her experience with Salma, a sophisticated young lady. Sama goes for her registration much later than everyone else, but expresses discomfort and irritation about the delay in the registration process. Salma is interrogated by a young man on the queue, and he continuously engages her in a discussion. But Salma continues to criticize and overgeneralize her opinions about lecturers. Salma does not only create a similarity between lecturers and policemen as personalities that can be bribed. She also boasts about her ability to win the lecturer's favor if she gives him as low as 2 or 3 thousand naira. Unknowingly to Salma and to the astonishment of everyone on the queue, the young man she has been conversing with is the lecturer in charge of the registration procedure. Wow. Umi proceeds to her departmental registration, and she is directed to the HOD's office. The HOD is seen exchanging endearing pleasantries with Umi, which she finds rather discomforting and inappropriate. Umi assumes the HOD is trying to make a pass at her. She indeterminately manages to accommodate this until she is given her matriculation number and leaves the office irritated and angry. On getting home, Umi tells her husband about her experience at the HOD's office, but she is astounded to learn about the friendship and rapport between her husband and Dr. Sam John. Now let's quickly look at what chapter 2 has to offer you. In chapter 2 here we can see how Umi, gains admission, and then she started her processing and all that. So chapter 2 introduces us to Umi's admission processing, getting to school, doing registration and all that. And then we are also introduced to a sophisticated lady called Salma. Welcome back from the short break. Alright, so we're starting with chapter 3. Remember what happened in chapter 1 and 2. Umi is telling our children's story about their life in school and all that. So it's all about stories. So then in chapter 3, Umi tells the story of the quiet one, a boy named Tale. Tale is given birth after many years of child fertility, and his birth causes the death of his mother. He grows up possessing a silent character and becoming even more reticent with the death of his father and stepmother. Thus, the quiet one was a perfect description. So you can see here, Tale lost his mother, then his stepmother, then his father. So that makes him so quiet, probably because he lives alone. Tale is considered a good person by the villager and unable to cause harm. However, Tale needed money at a point and confides in Zaki, who proposed the idea of abducting a boy and requesting a ransom. The plan is executed by the duo, and Tale restrains the boy in his house. Tale goes to the market for his groceries, but his usual request for food items is doubled. Soon, the market woman notices a change in his larger request for groceries and reports the issue to the district head. While Tale is being interrogated by the district head, policemen rampage the palace and arrest Tale as a suspect for kidnapping and extortion. Tale and Zaki are eventually sentenced to some years of imprisonment. Wow, that's so sad. Okay, so chapter 4. This chapter gives a further account of Salma's splendor and pomposity. Remember Salma, Umi's friend in school, the sophisticated lady. Alright. Salma goes to Dr. Debo, the level coordinator, to have her form signed. Unfortunately, Mr. Debo loses touch of his many years of discipline and makes advances towards Salma. Salma arrogantly dismisses his attempts and further insults him before leaving the office. Dabo is left in a state of regret, and he remorsefully prays to be vindicated from the impact of what he has created. That means he wished he didn't do that. Okay, Salma completes her hostel registration and moves into a room occupied by 3 other girls. Initially, Salma does not like the sight of her roomies, but eventually they begin to grow fond of each other and form an intimacy they regard as sisterhood. On a fateful evening, Salma is offered a ride in a Mercedes-Benz by 2 men, Habib and his driver, Labaran. She slides in knowing it is dangerous, and she concertedly plots a scheme to decline Habib's request to date her if he eventually proposes. Having to decline a man that rides Benz is Salma's way of upgrading her standard and getting recognition and respect from her colleagues and the entire university. Look at what happens in 4. 4 introduces us to Tali and Zaki. They abducted a boy and then they were eventually caught. Then chapter 4 exposes us to Salma. you know she was the doctor that she went to meet for her, to sign her form, made advances at her, and then she obviously refused, and then the doctor eventually regretted doing that. And then we can see how Salma was offered a ride by 2 guys that she doesn't even know, and she was already planning in her mind what she's going to do in case Habib, one of them, requests to date her. Let's quickly do chapter 5, then my next video will be on the remaining chapters. So we'll be left with chapter 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's 4 chapters. So let's just run through chapter 5. In this chapter, it is discovered that Salma gives Habib Tomiwa's mobile line instead. That means she didn't give Habib her contacts when Habib asked. And unknowing to Habib, he calls Tomiwa to go out on a date with him. Tomiwa is curious about Habib and decides to go out on a blind date, but eventually discloses the switch in mobile lines. Habib likes her still and shops for her and her roommate. He also gives Tomiwa some money for herself and her roommates. She's elated and her roommates share this happiness. At first, Salma agitates against Tomiwa's approval of Habib and accuses her of being a chameleon. Ada and Ngozi intervene, but the issue escalates. They soon come to a state of tranquility as soon as someone knocks at the door. They do not want to have to share their lot with other neighbors. Meanwhile, Salma and her roommates continue to excel in their separate departments and prepare for general studies paper. Realize what happened here, right? Someone gave Habib Somoa's contact. Now I think she's jealous that Habib is now spending all his money on Tomiwa, of which Sama was supposed to be the one to enjoy that. So that's basically where we're going to stop today, and then my next video I'm going to be doing a summary of the whole thing. And then I don't want you to panic. I'm going to have to do a character analysis. We're going to check out on each character so that you will know what this character is about, and then we're going to be looking out for past questions. So I don't want this video to be too long, but my next video would actually do more of a summary of the other chapters, and then we'll study the characters as well. So please, if you like this, kindly share, and like, and also subscribe. Thank you.